he basically called him a terrible father for allowing Bronny to go to the NBA.
Basically, yeah, setting him up for failure, I think, is the essence of that clip.
Yes.
Was it because he was wanting him to go to the NBA, or was it because LeBron was saying that he was better than half of the league? Because he also said that too.
No, I don't. That's a dad hyping up his own son. LeVar did it.
Okay, but there's levels to this. I mean, there's a level to LeVar where he's just a charismatic dad. The level
LeBron is also a very. He's a dad. He's Bronny's dad.
No, the level is you are arguably the greatest player to ever live, and then you give your son your own name, which he does regret. He's talked about regretting that.
Yeah.
But the person that has your name and saying, "Hey, he is better than half of the league," when he isn't, and he already has pressure because he's LeBron's kid, and then you go out and say that he's better than half the league when he's not, like not even close.
People act like he did all this without consulting Bronny about any of it. Yeah.
Welcome everyone back to the Smoker Fire Show. I'm your host, Jack Alexander. Alongside me as always is Owen, Colshaw, Klein in the building, and down below me, we got the Bean Team in the building. Or Alex Walters, whatever. I don't know what he wants to go by yet.
No, Bean Team, who cares?
Bean Team? Yeah, that's what I have on the so what I've been working on in the last few days, it's been so time consuming, is this new outro and intro, because I've been using CapCut to edit. And now, when you use CapCut and you're not paying for it, you need to have like a little watermark.
You just got paywalled.
Yep. Pretty much, yeah. And so that's what our last video looked like, was the CapCut little thing at the bottom right. And now I'm trying to learn Premiere. But regardless, my outros and intros were saved on my CapCut account. And if I'm not using CapCut, I might as well make a new outro and intro. So that's what I've been doing. And, well, to kind of go back to what I was talking about, I put Bean Team at the bottom for the intro.
Hell yeah.
That's all I wanted to say. Today, we got a media episode because there's been a lot of news out on the media on just the horrendous things that have been going on. To start, we're going to go over stuff that Alex already talked about in his YouTube channel. So link in bio for his YouTube channel, The Bean Team. He was talking about how Shaq was talking about the Pistons and how I don't even think he's. I don't even think he's watching the game.
This is before the Piston stuff.
Oh, was it? Oh,
yeah. This was related to. I don't even remember what Shaq said, but I talked about it because I don't like Shaq.
Yeah, I don't remember what that was about. But regardless, Shaq has been in. Alex does not really like Shaq in the last couple of weeks here. So we're going to go over that. We're going to go over the Stephen A. and LeBron James stuff, how he pretty much confronted Stephen A. on the court, and Stephen A. Smith has a lot to say about that interaction. And then we're going to go over some Charles Barkley stuff on, what was it about? The Lakers?
The Lakers being...
the Lakers saved basketball.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he just despises the Lakers. And then, of course, De'Aaron Fox is out for the season, so we have to talk about that as well. So to begin,
when I hear people say, "Oh, the NBA is boring," I go, "You're watching the same teams." Because if you put on the Detroit Pistons right now,
oh, stop it, they're boring too.
No,
4 games under 500.
They've won 7 in a
row.
4 games under 500.
So 4 games under 500, and what do they act? Oh, they say they go.
Do y'all know the last time that they were 4 games under 500?
They're 3.5 above right now.
Yeah, but do you know the last time that they were actually what Shaq said they were?
I gotta imagine like
last year when
I gotta imagine
December.
Like
December.
Yeah.
He hasn't watched a Pistons game since December.
Or he's just an idiot.
I mean, he is. If we're gonna give him the benefit of the doubt, I'm just saying he hasn't watched a game since December.
Yeah, that's awful.
A row.
Whoopee freaking do.
And I don't think they're 4 games under 500.
All right, what are they?
I'm going to look it up right now. And if you're right, I'm going to be pissed. They're 6 games over 500. They've
So-
won 7 in a row. Cade Cunningham is balling.
You want to brag about a team that's 32 and 26?
Bro,
See,
what bothers me so much? What bothers me so much is Shaq. This team was the worst team in one of the worst teams in NBA
Yes.
history last year.
Yes. And you know what also drives me nuts about it is this team has been bad for years, and they will come. Like if the Lakers had this record, they'd be like, "Oh my God, the Lakers are above 500. They're going to the playoffs." Whereas this is like Pistons. They're like, same Pistons. Let's move on.
You know what's
The
crazy
Pistons-
is last year we were talking about how much we were gonna miss the not trio quad trio. What's the quad?
Oh, word.
Quadruple.
The quadruple. Well,
The team.
the team, the group of TNT. We were gonna miss them
No
so
word.
much that they were gonna be super nostalgic. And now this year, I'm noticing that this year is the year that everyone is just shitting on them.
See, personally, I've never been a fan of them.
Really?
Except for Ernie and Kenny. I don't really have a problem with them. But I
Yeah.
hate this whole I truly do hate the whole thing of y'all need to take the league more serious. But on halftime, we're going to cut up jokes for 30 minutes and not really talk about basketball.
And we can
then
go
make
in.
fun
We
of
can go into the
entire
All-Star game
situation.
too.
That's how they are. I cannot stand Chuck and Shaq.
That's something I've noticed. It's basically like 20, 25 minutes of Shaq and Chuck just arguing. Like,
Yeah, if we're
Is
gonna
it
keep
funny?
Shaq and Chuck, we might as well just. I know I told at least Owen about this. Add LeVar Ball. If we're just still at these two idiots, put LeVar in, and that's gonna make it super entertaining. Am I
love
wrong?
LeVar.
Am I wrong though? Like a consistent LeVar Ball.
I love LeVar.
yeah, but I
The
think
issue is
well,
you
wait,
aren't
guys,
NBA comedians. You are NBA analysts.
the
Yes.
whole
Analyst.
hold on, gentlemen. I want you to find the hole in that LeVar Ball argument. The whole issue we have is it's just Shaq and Chuck arguing and cracking jokes for 30 minutes. What in the
What?
hell is LeVar going to LeVar's not going to talk about basketball. He's going to do the same thing.
They're going to ESPN. Who cares?
No, dude. What I'm saying is, if we are gonna keep Shaq and we are gonna keep Chuck, we might as
We're not.
well put LeVar Ball in it as well. If it's just gonna be a comedic show.
Yeah, I guess in the essence of, in the interest of being comedic, if that's what you want, then yes. But
Yeah, and that's pretty much what they're going for.
talking about strictly basketball, you need to bring out like a JJ Redick type or some guy who actually knows what they're talking about.
Yeah,
It's-
but these are the people who vote for the MVP and vote for the All-Star.
well, hold on. Shaq and Chuck do not have a vote. They have openly said that they don't have votes for MVP.
Okay, good. I'm glad because they don't fucking watch.
The goalposts,
Yeah, stop it.
they were 10 games better than he thought.
That's not success.
They need
to He's be back-
70-4.
He's backtracking.
They need to
He's
be,
just
Yes, because
completely
he can't admit when he is wrong. He cannot admit when he is wrong.
they
Oh my
need to,
God.
I love that they need to be 70-4.
40-20. We talked about it.
So we can only talk about 3 teams?
Bro, Detroit Pistons ain't winning no championship. Stop it.
Well, no.
So why can't we just talk about a team that is doing way better than they used to?
Yeah, Detroit's been a dumpster fire in all 5 major sports for the last 10 to 15
All of-
years.
All of my life. The last time they were good was back in the late 2000s.
Yeah, when they
Let's talk about
01
like,
and 04. Yeah. Jack, last
Yeah,
time,
and they
this is
won in full form.
last time they won
this
a
is a team
championship.
that went from the. This is the team that went from the 15th seed to now they are skipping the play-in,
Not only were they a 15 team, they were generationally bad.
Yeah. There
and
was,
now they're skipping the play-in.
it got so bad, Wingstop was doing promos when they won a game. They were going to get free wings when Detroit won a game during like their 27-game losing streak. That's where we're at. That's where we've come from. So,
NBA analysts. That's the name that they are given.
Do we have the other clip or no? We don't have the other clip.
What other clip do you want?
Of I don't think you're gonna find it. I think you have to strictly find it. It's a pretty long one where he is with Candace Parker and Vince Carter, and he said something about
Chauncey Billups incident.
yeah. He said that Chauncey Billups was the coach for the Detroit Pistons. Yes, here it is.
And he just blatantly
His job is
admits
to
it.
watch basketball.
On national television, just openly admitted he doesn't watch Detroit Pistons basketball. Now,
This guy's a joke.
to be fair, true sickos watch Pistons basketball from the years of 2005 until now. We'll say that, but the same time, it's your job to know something about every single team. I'm not saying you have to be a Pistons expert, but
You can still know the coach.
You should at least know the coach.
Yeah, for bare minimum.
No. But what's different is that you, Jack, and I do not get paid to do this. He gets paid millions of dollars. It is his job to watch NBA games.
Yes.
I don't care if you're a mega fan or not. You should know who plays for these teams and who is coaching them. Bare minimum.
All right, Alex, who's the coach right now then?
You can just see left.
Who's the coach right now for the Pistons? JB Bickerstaff.
You can see left coach.
And I don't get paid millions.
Come on.
Who was the coach last year? It was Monty Williams. He got paid a ton of money and then didn't want to be a coach.
I messed up. I made a mistake. What you freaking do?
Okay, at least he admits it, right?
But then he says, I don't watch Detroit Pistons basketball, so he doesn't admit it. He just tries to double down.
He just admitted it by saying that he doesn't watch Pistons basketball. That's what he's admitting. Like, he's admitting, oh yeah, I don't watch them.
He admits, sorry, I don't work. I don't do my job.
Okay, you can't say you love Cade, you love Isaiah Stewart, but you don't even watch them.
That is peak backtracking. He got caught in his own line. He's walking it back in front of. I wish we could pull up the ratings for what
he said it so confidently too. That's the crazy part.
The ratings for this specific episode of Inside the NBA or halftime show, whatever it is. The best part is it comes from No Context NBA. Like, it's just a clip that they cut. So it's kind of one of those where it's like they keep trying to convince us they know what's going on, but they keep feeding into this pundit narrative more and more.
He's pretty much just doesn't watch ball.
Yep. And he's got a job. Thank God we're getting NBC and NBC next year.
Wait, I thought it was ESPN.
Yeah, but he's still going to be a part of it, though.
Yeah, but he won't. The games will be broadcasted on like NBC. That I don't have to worry about watching them.
Well, wait, Alex. I thought
he's still going to be.
Yeah.
He's gonna be on ESPN, yes, but I mean, you don't have to watch ESPN. I'm not gonna. Who watches? I don't watch the ESPN talking head shows. I don't watch First Take.
I watch First Take. I'm not gonna lie. I do it because I love when Stephen A. Smith yells at my screen, and that's every episode.
Yeah, literally, that's the crux of their ratings. Stephen A. just going nuts.
Yeah, that's how he got his 5-year, $100 million contract. Is because he's entertaining when he screams at the camera.
We get. You know who we get? You know who we get? We get two of the best analysts who are going to be next year.
Who? For NBC?
Two people that I've never heard say anything bad about today's game. Reggie Miller and Jamal Crawford.
Oh, okay.
We are saved.
Okay, I actually did not used to like Reggie Miller, but I don't even think that was because of like how he speaks on the game. Like every time that I watch like a Pacers game or anything like that, I always hear him and like it was never about how he analyzes the game. It was because of his ears and his voice, I think.
Yeah.
But you just can't hate on a guy that on something that you can't control. So I don't know.
He's a real analyst though, so I'm excited.
Yeah. Jamal Crawford, that's phenomenal. Is it just those two then? Because the other
maybe
had 4.
They're going to be the ones calling the games at least. I don't know who's going to do halftime and stuff.
That's who I thought it was going to be the same 4 guys.
They're not going to stick like a...
No, they're moving over to ESPN.
But I'm saying they're not going to stick a PXP guy on there and then have those two be color and like analysts and stuff. Because I feel like that would make more sense. Unless Jamal Crawford or Reggie Miller are better at calling games than I thought they were.
They're really good at calling
Reggie's
games.
good. I don't know about
I haven't heard Jamal, but I know Reggie is great at calling games.
Like straight up play-by-play?
Well, he's kind of the more opinion guy because there's always two different types of guy.
Yeah, that's
the what?
Here,
hold on for the Amazon Prime.
We got the broadcaster right here.
Yeah, I do.
For the Prime.
While Jack's looking that up, I'll explain it. Play-by-play is a guy like Mike Breen's and all the guys who are talking. The color guys are your analysts, like your Doris Burks, your Reggie Millers, your Jamal Crawfords, the guys who give opinions and explain like Luka got.
Jamal will probably be play-by-play.
Yeah, I was just saying. Then Reggie Miller can explain how Luka just beat somebody on a ball screen.
You said it's called color guy.
Yeah,
color commentator.
Color. Okay, that's okay. See, okay. Now I remember. Okay, go ahead, Alex.
Real quick. There's one more guy who was in the talks. There's one more guy who could possibly join the team at NBC or for Amazon.
Oh,
possibly?
Just kidding.
Blake Griffin.
What do you mean possibly?
Blake, oh my God.
Really?
Blake Griffin is in talks with Amazon Prime about becoming part of their NBA coverage during the 2025-2026 season, according to multiple sources. Griffin could be poised to become the face of Prime's coverage, said one source. He could also end up with NBC Sports.
Who said this?
This was an article by Michael McCarthy from 2024. So
When I hear Mike McCarthy, I think of a different person. I think the old coach of the Packers. I don't like Mike McCarthy, Owen. And he went to the Cowboys. He's been asked since like 2015.
I don't care. Anybody associated with the Packers pisses me off.
He's not associated with the Packers. He was in the past.
That's my point. If you've ever been associated with the
like Aaron Jones?
God.
You don't like Aaron Jones, huh? You're not an Aaron Jones fan, huh?
It was not on my team, obviously. No doy. I'm not. It's not like an exact science. But anyways, let's carry on.
You said it, not me. You said it, not me.
Yeah.
No, how can you not like Aaron Jones? Like, he put on the sombrero.
Yeah.
Like the Viking sombrero, and I'm like, you know what?
And
that's fine.
He did the bank.
Go ahead, Alex.
The bank vault.
The prime. Here's your analysts for Prime Video NBA.
Prime for next year?
Yes, for next year.
Who was it before?
Well, they didn't have anything on Prime.
Yeah.
Oh,
this is
okay.
for the
I
new
was like,
TV
I didn't even know. Okay.
This is for the new TV deal. Blake Griffin.
For sure.
And Dirk Nowitzki.
Oh,
Dirk.
Yes, and this is officially from NBA.com.
Wait, okay. I know we were just hating on what's his name? Shaq for not knowing the coaches. Steve Nash isn't the coach of the Nets anymore, right?
No.
Or is he still? Okay,
No.
I didn't think he was.
It's oh god.
Because I was thinking, why don't you put Nash and Dirk Nowitzki on there? That would be beautiful. Knowing their history.
Jordy Fernandez, that's the coach for
because it was Jock Vaughn.
Yeah.
Last year.
Yeah, Nash hasn't been the coach since the KD days.
Yeah,
which wasn't that long ago.
And he got fired even during those days.
I was saying when they tried to assemble the Avengers,
right?
Mid-30s.
It's been a few years. Okay.
So yeah, we're getting really great analysts coming up. I'm excited.
Okay, I don't know how I feel about Blake Griffin. Can you guys kind of?
That one's out of left field for me too. Like Dirk makes sense because Dirk's one of the greatest foreign big men of all time. That makes sense.
Dirk is going to be
just because you're good at basketball doesn't mean you're going to be
a
good
at it. Like he has.
I mean, look at Shaq.
He probably has.
Dirk is going to be your play-by-play, and if you've watched any of Blake Griffin's interviews, fun, charismatic. He knows what he's talking about. He's going to be your color commentator, and I really like Blake. I love Blake for the job.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll send y'all some Blake Griffin clips.
I was going to say, I got to see it. I'm not against it, but I got to see it.
Moving on, Stephen A. Smith was confronted by LeBron James because he was talking bad about his son. And this is what Stephen A. Smith has to say.
Welcome into First Take on this Feel Good Friday. Thank you for being with us. Obviously, Stephen A., an incredible game last night in LA. You were in the building, and we'll get to what that means.
So this is the video right here. I don't remember who it was, but it was some sort of streamer that actually got it clipped.
So what happened was, okay, this I'm gonna give a brief rundown.
Thank you. I'm glad that we have someone that can do this.
I think the streamer was Lefty.
Was it? Yeah.
Lowe reposted it. People started to credit Lowe. Lowe said, "Hey guys, it wasn't me. It was Lefty." And then
you should just credit it in the video or in the post.
He did that's what because he retweeted it. So you can't really. I mean, you can credit all you want, but he just retweeted it.
Yeah, no, that's crediting it. Yeah.
Apparently, the two just hate each other, and that's the whole drama there. They've never liked each other.
That was LeBron James coming up to me, unexpectedly, I might add, to confront me about.
The funniest thing. Hold on, this was against the Knicks, right? Game that was very close, really good game. When do y'all think that the confrontation happened?
Had to be at half. Or either.
This was during a timeout.
Whoa!
Oh,
I did not know that.
He wasn't even thinking about the Knicks. He waited. There's a timeout was called, and he walked over to Stephen A. Smith and chewed him out.
Was this before or after halftime? Do you know?
This was after halftime. I think it was in the third quarter.
Why can't he just do it during halftime?
Yeah,
they had stuff to do, but there was a timeout was called, and he went over to Stephen.
They got stuff to do. They got stuff to do in a timeout.
So you're telling me
It depends, unless the Knicks were the ones that call. I don't know who called the timeout. I just know a timeout was called,
Still,
and LeBron James went over and chewed Stephen A. out.
you're telling
Okay,
me,
I know traveling ball is different than NBA ball, but every time a timeout was taken, even if it was the other team, the coach had something to say, and the
Yeah,
players had
LeBron-
something to say.
Jack. Exactly.
You're not going to stop LeBron in that situation. He was a man on a mission.
I just
No,
don't-
yeah,
just
I
don't
know.
Get that. Like, why pick a random 60-second media timeout to go confront Stephen A? Do it pregame or do it half and get out of the way.
Exactly.
Because he was
Or call him up like he's about to say. Call him up and
No,
have him
no,
ready
no,
and talk face
no.
to face.
No,
at a dinner.
I disagree with this whole call him up thing because Stephen A is over here talking about how he should have done it in private when Stephen A blasted LeBron on live television, calling him a terrible father.
What did he say?
So the quote was, and they were talking about Bronny, right? This was on First Take, live in front of thousands of people. And Stephen A said, "I'm going to come to you as a father. He basically called him a terrible father for allowing Bronny to go to the NBA.
basically, yeah, setting him up for failure, I think, is the essence of that clip.
Yes.
Was it because he was wanting him to go to the NBA, or was it because LeBron was saying that he was better than half of the league? Because he also said that too.
No, I don't. That's a dad hyping up his own son. LeVar did it.
Okay, but there's levels to this. I mean, there's a level to LeVar where he's just a charismatic dad. The level
LeBron
is
is also a very. He's a dad. He's Bronny's dad.
No, the level is you are arguably the greatest player to ever live, and then you give your son your own name, which he does regret. He's talked about regretting that.
Yeah.
But the person that has your name and saying, "Hey, he is better than half of the league" when he isn't, and he already has pressure because he's LeBron's kid, and
But
then you go out and say that he's better than half the league when he's not, like not even close.
People act like he did all this without consulting Bronny about any of it. That's what bothers me the most. Is people think Bronny had no decision and just joined the league, and
Yes, of course, but you can't go out and say that he's better than half the league when he's not.
Yes, he can because it's LeBron. He's his dad.
He already has way too much pressure.
Hold on.
Why add so much more?
That pressure
when
pressure,
people are already going to hate on him.
Jack, that pressure wasn't going to go anywhere. He's LeBron James' son. He is already with tons of pressure. It didn't matter if LeBron said that.
It's
or not.
capped out. You can't say it. You can't be more.
Hold on.
Because
here's what doesn't sit right.
You got to expect hate from that statement.
Jack,
You got to expect it.
Listen to me for like 2 seconds, and I'll let you guys go. What doesn't sit right with me is the fact that he calls him a terrible father, but I don't think he specified in which context. Because when he calls somebody,
Okay, that saying you're a terrible father is awful.
but I'm saying,
not
yeah, that's
disagreeing with
bad. I'm not condoning that, but with LeBron, there's 2 ways you could go about that. Terrible father is in he didn't raise his kids correctly, or a terrible father as in he forced his son into the league just to fulfill out his childhood dream, whatever the dream was, whatever you want to go with. That's what doesn't sit right with me. Stephen A. didn't specify why LeBron's a terrible father. Because, like, you can justify that and you can say whatever you want, but I don't condone him calling him a terrible father, but specify. Say it from a basketball standpoint. I don't think Stephen A. said from a basketball standpoint. I think
how about you just don't say you just don't use the words "you're a terrible father."
But I'm saying though, like it's not going to stop Stephen A. Yeah, Alex, you're right. But I'm saying if you're going to do that, you have to specify. If you're going to do that, specify.
Yes, I agree. I don't think specifying would have helped to LeBron.
I'm saying, well,
I think
at least
he already hates him anyway.
Yeah, I would have given some context.
I mind what I say about his son. Can't repeat the words because they ain't suited for FCC airwaves. That's what he was doing. I thought long and hard about this over the last 2 hours.
He 100% said, "Keep my son's name out of your bleeping mouth."
Like
And the
Will
reason
Smith.
why is
100%.
because that wasn't a basketball player confronting me. That was a parent. That was a father.
You can't sit here and be angry. Just wait to what we have next with the Gilbert Arenas clip. He goes off. And now, but he's on First Take saying, "Oh, I can't be angry because he's a father," after calling him a terrible father.
Was slighted by LeBron James in any way in that regard. By all accounts, he's obviously a wonderful family man and a wonderful father who cares very, very deeply about his son.
Okay, Alex, explain this. Okay, so for me, at least how he's acting post everything that happened, you're pretty much saying he already went on First Take and said it to the entire world that you're a terrible father. So why can't he do it when there's thousands of people watching? Is that pretty much your point?
Along those lines, because what Stephen A is implying is he also has ways to get into contact with LeBron. So if he wanted to make comments saying, hey, I don't think what you're doing for your kid is right, he could have called him, and instead he blasted it on live TV for views.
Okay. So here's the thing. For the men watching, this is our Kim Kardashian show, or whatever the hell that's called. Keeping Up with Kardashians.
Yeah.
So for the women watching, if there is any, this is pretty much our version of that. Men, this is definitely our version of that.
Yep.
Stephen A. Smith, that's his job. That's kind of like what he does for a living, is to
Hall of Fame.
not saying he's a terrible father, but just calling someone out on live television. The terrible father part, I think it's consensus. Everyone disagrees with that, like acting that way. But as far as his job and what he does is he calls out these players on live television and speaks his mind about it.
But Jack, we've had this whole. What the point is that this isn't about the comments. This whole argument between him and LeBron is about the terrible father part.
Yeah,
not about him calling out Bronny or saying things. It's him calling LeBron a terrible father. So if you
I thought there was more to it than that.
I mean,
he's calling out Bronny like all year. Like, what else was there that could have been a part of it?
But keep in mind, you have to look at the time. Like, this has been happening, like you said, all year. But things changed when the whole the confrontation happened after the terrible father comment.
It was right after that?
It was shortly after that.
Okay.
And that's really what this all boils down to, is the terrible father comment, which is what seemed to be what had pushed LeBron to the edge. But I'm also like, we're going through this whole spiel of like, yo, the media does nothing but say negative things.
Yes.
So we can't sit here and preach like Shaq won't talk positive about anybody. Chuck won't talk positive about anybody. Kendrick Perkins won't talk positive about anybody. But as
the
soon
thing
as
is that Stephen A does. He does talk positive about people. Like, he's not like Shaq and Chuck where they like all they talk about is negative things. I mean, he says positive things too. It's just also negative. Now, like I said, I keep stressing this. I mean, we all agree that what he said was awful, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. He's a little different in that sense where he's not like to the extreme. Well, I say to the extreme like he didn't just call LeBron a terrible father. But like he also says positive things, is what I'm saying.
I also just go ahead, Owen.
Here's the social media side of it. LeBron has 160 million followers on Instagram, right? So you can imagine he's got 159 million followers on Instagram. So you can imagine he gets a bunch of DMs. Yo, you sold my parlay. Yo, you suck. Your son sucks. It's like
he doesn't read those.
For LeBron to get true, but you know what I mean. For like LeBron to get truly irked, you have to say something like this. That's what this rises to. Is it's like because Jack, you got to be a fool to believe he hasn't opened Instagram once in a while. Like, I'm not saying he checks it every day, but
not at this point in his career. No,
I
don't think he does.
But I'm saying that you got to really say something stupid to get his attention. With how much attention he already gets.
Well, he's not going to do that to a random person, but he'll do it to Stephen A. Yeah, absolutely.
I'll put it this way.
Wait, what you're saying is, let's say someone on this podcast called LeBron a terrible father and got his attention. You saying he wouldn't come out?
He would not care.
He would not care. No, not us. No, because we don't have any following, and we're not. And the thing is when you are an influencer, whether you're just a social media influencer, or you're an analyst, or you're a musician, or an athlete, where was I going to go with that? What the fuck?
A few moments later.
Alex, this is the part where you say something really smart while he's thinking.
So the best way. Here's how I think about. Here's how you should look. Here's how we look at it. Let's take away the titles. Let's say that this is a high school kid who is playing basketball, and a writer for the town's newspaper comes in and decides to badmouth this kid in high school. And then his dad decides to come and say something to him. That is basically what happened.
Yeah. Okay. So I remember my
Strip
point.
all the titles away. Strip that it's Stephen A. Smith. Strip that it's LeBron James. Would you fault that dad for going to that writer?
If it was a very popular writer, I wouldn't fault him. No, because they have influence. That's kind of what the point that I was trying to make was.
Okay.
Like when you have a lot of following, you have like that's why we're called. Well, not we, because you could say we're an influencer to 34 people, but when you have like thousands, if not millions, of followers, like the term influencer means a lot more because you influence so many other people. So when Stephen A. Smith is coming on First Take, the number one show in sports, right? Number one show in sports.
I think
regardless,
statistically,
at least I think like for sales, yes. But what I'm saying is you have influence on so many people, and now you have thousands and thousands of people who blindly watch Stephen A. Smith and just agree with everything he says. And there's just pushing way much more negativity. So yes, or so no, I'm saying he would not give a shit about us unless it goes extremely viral and then someone like a Stephen A. Smith talks about it. That was my point, and I just completely blanked for some reason.
You're good.
We've kind of covered it. It's a son.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Dad.
I don't really.
Son. That dad just happened.
Do we need to see the Gilbert Arenas clip?
Well, the thing is he went off on him dropping F-bombs. Like he pretty much kind of said what he said on First Take, but it was a lot more.
Well,
it was a lot less.
A lot less PC.
Respectful. Yeah, it was definitely more rated R.
Talking about the Lakers, that's about LeBron, not Bronny.
So keep in mind, this is after First Take. Like after he was being respectful and professional is the word that I was trying to get out.
Wanted to get drafted by any NBA team. Mm-hmm. He wanted to hear his name. It was LeBron that wanted him as his teammate. What I'm saying to you is, if LeBron had rolled up on me, all he had to say, because I said this to Rich Paul when Rich Paul called me, if you had called me and said, Bron pissed off, he wants to see you man to man. I said, what would I have done? Rich Paul said, you'd have hung up the phone and you'd flew to LA. I said, thank you. Rather than come up to me at courtside, all you had to do was say, yo, I need you to see you after the game. You didn't do that. You said, you with my son. No, I wasn't. I was talking about you. It wasn't about your son. I know he's number 55. I know he got work to do. Yeah. I believe that he got the potential. And by the way, I'm rooting for him. I ain't rooting against nobody. But I was talking about your You did this. Number one, we know I'm right. Number two, we know the perspective that I'm coming from is real and it's authentic. Number three, he set this up. Number four, all you had to do was tell me. Respectfully, excuse my language. That's when we.
Wow.
Okay. I say Alex because me and you have been going at it, kind of like disagreeing a lot more, and Owen's been kind of a middleman.
I just got to say this. You know, this he made it very clear. We're talking about the 55th pick. Bronny is averaging more in every statistical category than everyone that was picked after him. So let's just not even talk about how he was a waste of a pick. But that's just to get that out of the way.
It's
how okay. What about the volume between him and everyone else?
Let's see. He has played. I got it right here. Hold on.
Well, while he's looking that up, it's purely optics. It's how sexy does it look on TV that LeBron is playing with his son. It's not about basketball. It's never been.
Yes, it's about his documentary afterwards.
Yeah, it's about the documentary afterwards.
See, that's something that, okay, I don't, like I said, I don't agree with him calling him a terrible father, but it's kind of showtime when you do this. Especially when you're in LA. Like, if you didn't care where Bronny got drafted, like maybe he got drafted to Sacramento, Portland, something like that, and then he goes and like goes to that smaller market team. I feel like that wouldn't be as showtime. Ooh, I want to make a documentary about it.
Yeah, could you imagine LeBron in a Portland uniform playing at 10:30 on a Tuesday night?
No.
Imagine it. Just stop and think about what that looks like for a second.
I'm picturing a jersey swap, and that's about it.
I know.
I can't picture him like physically walking in a video.
Yeah, it is. Jack's right. It's the Showtime Lakers. This has never been about basketball. It's never been about basketball. It's purely about everything else associated with it. Like,
but the argument against that is it isn't about basketball. It's about being a father.
Yeah.
And fulfilling a dream of playing with your son.
Yeah, and if you're LeBron, you had to know the scrutiny was going to come if he didn't.
Oh,
Yes, absolutely. But there is two sides of the coin here, Owen.
Yeah,
I got
It
everything.
is about being a father.
I've got the guy that was picked right after him, Kevin McCullough Jr. was picked right after Bronny
Shout out
Okay.
Kansas.
in 9 games on 23.8 minutes.
23.8 minutes?
23.8 minutes.
Wait,
in 9
what
games.
team?
The Westchester Knicks.
Oh, so we're talking.
G League.
Oh, you're saying LeBron is better statistically in the G League than all these other people.
Yeah, the people that were picked after him.
Oh, okay. I thought you were trying to compare him to the other players behind him in the actual NBA, because I was gonna say, like, Bronny's gonna have a lot more minutes than all these other guys. These other guys probably haven't even played yet. But
No,
then
Kevin
they
McCullough
pulled
played-
out. You
He's
said
played
what?
2 more games
In the G League?
and in the G League. We're talking G League only.
Okay.
He has played 2 more games than Bronny. Bronny's played 7. Kevin McCullough's played 9. Kevin McCullough is averaging 9 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 turnovers. Bronny is averaging 13 points. I'm looking at one on my phone. 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 0.7 blocks, 3 turnovers.
But how is he doing against people in the top 10? People in the top 10 that LeBron himself was comparing Bronny to. Half of the league, he said Bronny was better than. Like, he's probably going to be better than the people behind him. Like, he deserves to be there at least. I agree with that. But
If
he said
anybody
half the league.
That was a dad just talking about his son.
That
I'm
was
trying
LeBron.
to-
Okay, but it was LeBron James. Like, he needs to know this.
Again, though, it's not. We're keep looking at it as this isn't just some dude being like, hey, that guy at the end of the draft is better than half the league. It's a man talking about his son. You can say it's LeBron. Yeah, I get it. You can say it's LeBron James all you want, but this isn't.
I will.
This is just a dad who is hyping up his son. Yes, was what he said stupid? Was what he said not true? 100%. 100%. It's like when LeVar said that all 3 of his sons were going to be the top 3 players in the NBA. None of them are.
I was about to make that comment. It's like LeVar talking about any of his 3 kids. It's like
It's way different. Okay,
No, it's not. No, it's not.
What do you guys think? Do you guys think it's LeBron James? It's because it's LeBron James. Like, you can't be hyping up like I said, someone who you gave your own name to, knowing that you are LeBron James, knowing that people like Stephen A. Smith, Shaq, Charles Barkley, he knows the system. Like, I don't agree with the system, but he knows this system. He knows that people are going to come after him. Fans too. He's LeBron James. That's what I think. I think that he should know who he is, and he shouldn't be like blatantly saying it like that. Like, very confidently. It's very different than LeVar. Or do you guys think it's no different? Is it no different than LeVar Ball? Are they just like, you could just talk it up that simple?
Because it's a big personality. It's just a big personality talking about his famous son. Because like the Ball family was famous even before they all got into the league. They had big baller brand. They had everything associated with that. Bronny,
not to the level, not to that level.
Regardless, they had that name and image backing him up. Bronny just had I'm LeBron's son behind him. Like before, like we knew he was going to be a basketball player because you're kind of like, okay, it's LeBron's kid. He's going to hoop. How good can he actually be? And the problem is he's never going to meet the expectations because your father's the greatest player of all time. So no matter, he could go for 50. He could average James Harden numbers when he was on the Rockets. Like he could average like 40 a night, and it's never going to be enough.
He's always going to be compared to LeBron.
He's always going to be compared to LeBron. So he's never going to skip that shadow. That's the problem.
Okay, so pretty much what you guys are saying is you guys think it's just that simple. Like, yeah, he's always going to be compared to LeBron. It's just a father.
There's nothing,
like you guys think that there's a cap to this, pretty much.
What do you mean a cap?
Yeah,
a cap to.
I think it's dumb just to say, Bron, this is your fault for him having a son who is in the NBA and him making normal comments that dads make about their kids.
Yeah, that's where the cap is. You're capping it at that. It's just a father, but I'm thinking it's going farther than that because you are LeBron James. Like it's deeper than that. It's because he already has all the media hating on him already, and knowing that if you say that he's better than half the league, people are going to shit on that.
Well, the thing is that they were gonna shit on him no matter what.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you have a cap to this where it's like they're gonna shit on him anyway. That's just what I'm saying. That you're
it's
just
not like people are. It's
you're
not
just
like
saying
people
it's
are,
simple. Like you're not overcomplicating it like I am. Is what I'm saying. That's my point.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, the best way to say it is like LeBron James.
And that's
no matter
where we
what
differ.
He did, no matter what he did, was going to be shit on because he's
Yeah.
LeBron James' son. And yes, you could say that. Like, obviously, LeBron's comments were wrong. I'm not saying Bronny's better than half the league, but it's I guess it's not different. It is kind of different to an extent because but he did play in the league, not to LeBron's level. But it's like when Jaren Jackson's dad said that he was Tim Duncan with a jump shot.
I just think there's way more levels to this because you have, like I said with Stephen A, it's because you have way more influence. Like it's the same type of logic with that. Like you have way more influence when you're Stephen A. Smith versus or Shaq versus LeBron. Like they all have influence. Their opinion is gonna be out there.
Being
hated.
I'll give you another like Jared Jackson. It's like with the Boozer twins. Like, oh yeah, their dad's Carlos Boozer. We expect them to be dominant in the league for 15 years. Is that the same? Would that be like if Carlos Boozer came out and said, my sons are going to be the two best players in the NBA in 5 years?
Yeah, and people are going to hate on that.
Yeah. So,
but not to the level like people are hating on LeBron.
Yeah. But I'm saying though, like with any NBA,
Carlos Boozer is also not on the same level as LeBron.
That's my point.
Yeah.
There's levels to it.
Yeah.
I will admit, like I'm not saying that what those comments LeBron made didn't bring more hate. I don't want to make it seem like that's not the case. I just don't think we should be like, you should have never said that, LeBron.
I just
because
I don't know, man.
What happens?
I just don't think it's right to say, hey, we know,
I think they're both in the wrong. That's what I think.
We know I guess what I'm getting at is like it's odd to punish LeBron for being like I don't even want to say this, but like just for being a supportive father.
Yeah, and I'll say this.
I get it. I get it.
People are reading.
He did it out of positivity.
Yeah, people are reading way too much into this, thinking like you have to understand. LeBron's saying that again. It's like go back to the whole thing. He's literally just hyping up his kid. The media took this and turned it into LeBron genuinely thinks his kid's better than half the league. Like LeBron could say whatever he wants, but how much value does it actually hold? Like, you know what I mean?
Because he's LeBron James and people blindly go about what he says. I'm not saying I do.
Dad says this
shit all the time. LeVar said he could beat Jordan 1-on-1. Celebrities say shit all the time. How much value?
Because it's comically stupid and comically entertaining. LeVar's a bad example because like that's kind of
what I'm saying.
I mean, he's known for.
Yeah,
that's kind of what LeVar's there for.
Yeah,
exactly.
Hall of Fame rage baiter, but
he's just a rage baiter. He doesn't actually think he's better than MJ. Like every
dad says these things. Every dad says these things. Just none of them have LeBron's audience, and we'll keep it at that.
Yeah,
exactly.
So
I guess LeVar is to that extreme too. So there's levels to that from that point of view.
Yeah.
But anyway, San Antonio Spurs star De'Aaron Fox will undergo season-ending surgery on Tuesday for a tendon damage in his left pinky. So we were kind of just saying that it doesn't really like there's not really a talking point to it. The Spurs are done anyway. They weren't even going to make the playoffs. They weren't even going to make the play-in, most likely.
I thought
but
without Wiggy, they were struggling.
Oh yeah, no, they're in the 12th spot. I thought they were sitting around 10. My bad.
But they have their own draft pick, boys. And when I go through Tankathon or Fanspo and do the NBA lottery, out of probably the 50 times that I've done it in the last like week, which is that a lot? Maybe. The Spurs got it at least 3 times, which is a high percentage when you are a team with Victor Wembanyama.
It's a lot. It's a big jump for them. They're very far from 15th seed. They have a lot more wins than the Pelicans and everything.
Yeah,
they'll probably end up with like a 7th, 6th.
I don't remember what team it was, but I remember Alex said they did too good and they won too many games early in the season to tank. I remember Alex.
The Nets.
Nets, yeah, it was a reference to the Nets. It's like they won too many games before the All-Star break to consider tanking. So Well, Jack pulls this up. I think it's kind of one of those where it's like, I think De'Aaron Fox came there with the idea that Wemby was going to be healthy the whole time, and then, DVT blood clots and all that fun stuff. So, I don't know. Spurs are cooked. We don't know when Pop's going to be back either. So they basically have an interim coach and a bunch of Jeremy Sohan and a bunch of Steph Castle and a bunch of randoms. That's what that team is now.
So if you did this 100 times,
they're in the NBA, so they're not randoms, but still.
Portland and Chicago are going to surpass them.
Yeah, but if you did this 100 times, 3 out of those times, at least from a percentage standpoint, for me it was 3 out of 50, so probably the next 50 times they wouldn't do it. 3 out of those times, they have
that would make the NBA's rigged allegations so much harder to beat because it was already suspicious enough that the Spurs.
But with the ratings down, you're on blast with anything that goes right with any sort of higher.
I don't.
But it would be rather suspicious if the Spurs, with Greg Popovich, one of the greatest coaches of all time, got Wemby, who's been deemed a generational talent, off the rip, and then you get Cooper Flagg, who's also been deemed a generational talent, off the rip. It'd be rather suspicious if we got both those back-to-back years.
But the thing is it's a 3% chance to get the first overall pick, right? It's not a 3% chance to jump to the top 4, to get a Dylan Harper, to get an Ace Bailey, people like that, Edgecombe.
Also, who would be the first?
Who's the point guard too? The point guard, I can't pronounce his name.
What's be
honest.
Kasparas Yakushonis.
Yeah, that guy. They could easily get one of those guys if they jump up to the top 4.
There's a chance. I don't think they'll get one.
It's a higher chance than 3.
Who becomes the first overall pick if Cooper Flagg goes back from their year at Duke?
Dylan Harper.
He's not going back another year. He's not
Dylan
going
Harper.
back.
In that hypothetical, Dylan Harper.
Not going to read into the fact that he and his dad are doing this.
They're not. It's
not his decision. He's a grown man.
There's not.
He's about to make millions.
Zion said the exact same thing. It's a dumb decision to make. If it's to dodge who the bottom teams are in the league, they're going to be the same bottom teams next year. The Hornets, the Wizards, the Jazz, the Nets, the Pelicans. None of them are going to get better.
Yep.
So you're going to go there again. You're going to miss out on $14 million a year. For what? Another $4 million at Duke next year, and then you're going to have to come in to even more stacked draft class, especially at the forward position. It just isn't. It's not.
Yeah,
it's not happening.
It's not.
I was just wondering what your guys' thoughts were on seeing Cooper Flagg do this, like that clip that went viral.
Well, pretty much we don't buy it.
Yeah,
I don't buy it.
He's not coming back.
I'm saying, but in that hypothetical, I would say Dylan Harper. But it just kind of depends on the team that does it.
No team.
Let's say Philadelphia gets the first overall pick without Cooper Flagg. They probably take Ace Bailey because they have Tyrese Maxey already. Is that
and Jeremy Payne?
Yeah,
exactly. Well, he's more of a 2, but still.
Let's get to Chuck.
Yeah, Charles Barkley. So he pretty much goes on a rant on how he hates the Lakers.
Yeah,
you want to go deeper into that now?
I'll give some more context to the people before we start. Basically Charles Barkley tees off on ESPN for covering the Lakers and basically saying the Lakers saved basketball because they had 2 great weeks and jumped I don't know, what was it, Alex, 4 or 5 spots in the standings from playing the 2 seed. We can get the semantics of that later, but
right when Luka was starting to get his groove back, crazy, huh?
Well, before that, it was really before that too.
In essence, his argument is why are we talking about 2 great Lakers weeks when the Thunder have been hooping and have been the 1 seed pretty much from start to finish for the last 6 months. Is kind of what the essence of this clip is, but we'll let Jack play it.
Let me tell y'all something.
Tell me something.
And first of all, I want all the smoke.
Tell me something.
Okay, he wants the smoke. We're gonna shit on him then, right? He if he wants it, not like he cares about what we say, but
absolutely terrible.
If you want the smoke, we're gonna give you the smoke.
A long way to go. But the reason the season's been going great for the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Oklahoma City Thunder.
He's not wrong yet, right?
They don't have the MVP, but carry on.
That's next episode.
Y'all are talking about who's in second place. That's the reason I get pissed. Hey, the Lakers are doing great. I don't mind being wrong. The Warriors are doing great.
It's an entertainment show. Going back to the point before, it's not about. They shouldn't be called analysts, but it's an entertainment show.
Clicks. They're just generating clicks. Carry on.
Yes, exactly.
Great weeks.
Time out. I get what you're saying.
I mean, look at the way he's looking at Kenny. This guy's a fucking doofus.
Dead serious.
Move.
The whole network.
They talk about the same
the whole
stuff.
industry.
Whole industry. They talk about the same stuff every single day.
All right. I'll get on my soapbox.
I'm not disagreeing with most of this.
Let me get on my soapbox for like 30 seconds here.
Go for it.
This is exactly what NFL media does. It drives me fucking nuts. They talk about Dallas. Dallas has 6 wins.
Okay, so you're agreeing with him?
Yes, he's right. Dallas had 6 wins at Christmas, and the media was talking about, could they make the playoffs? Whereas it's the same thing here. It's like they're talking about the Lakers because the Lakers print them money. OKC, small market. Cleveland, small market. That doesn't print them money. It drives me fucking.
They talk about the Knicks and the Lakers and the Philadelphia 76ers.
Hold on. I'm not done. The Vikings, we had 10. I'm pretty sure we had 10 wins by Christmas or 12 wins by Christmas, whatever it was. And
it was a double-digit number.
And the only time they mention the Vikings is when Sam Darnold would collapse. They wouldn't mention the fact that we were 12-4 or 12-5, whatever the number is. They would only mention the imminent collapse, and they'd be like, okay, we're going to go back to talking about the Cowboys and the Eagles because that's what gets us paid.
Because it get it. Yep, the clicks.
Alex? I just needed to get that off my chest as a comparison. Carry on, gentlemen.
There's not much to say other than, I mean, it's weird that he's doing this. He's making this rant during a coverage for the Lakers game.
Wait, was this the night that No, this is before Steve.
This is the Lakers-Knicks game.
Was this the one that LeBron confronted?
Well, this was before all that stuff came out, but it was that night.
Yeah, that same night.
Okay.
It's just funny to be saying that with Shaq right there. Someone who will only talk about teams that have won a certain amount of games, keep in mind, and he doesn't know what records team have that
so he just shut on Shaq is what you're saying.
And according to Shaq,
kind of.
Chauncey Billups coaches the Pistons, allegedly.
Look at that face, too. Look at that face, too, because he knows he's calling him out.
But I don't really have a but for it. I get where Shaq's coming. I mean, not Shaq. I get where Chuck's coming from.
Wait, but there was a part where we didn't agree with him, though.
The one thing I don't agree is the whole point of this conversation is more of like, you're getting mad at the way things are being covered. Well, guess what? You cover the game too.
Yeah.
Y'all haven't been talking about the Thunder or the Cavs.
So you're saying it's hypocritical?
Yeah. Yes, it's very hypocritical.
Okay.
They say one thing, but they're doing a completely different thing. Like, yes, what Chuck is saying is right. Also, he was wrong about the streak of the Lakers, but that's just semantics. They had been hot for 3 months at that point because they had been on what was it? 22-9 since January 1st. They're going to sit there and say, y'all don't talk about the Thunder and the Cavs when they don't either.
Yeah, that's extremely hypocritical.
That's genuinely my whole gripe with it.
Here's what else bothers me is the NBA and all these leagues want to appeal to the casual fan more often. The majority of fans, it's basically like, would you pick the Lakers or the field? The field has 90% of your fan base, and they choose to appeal to the 10% of the fan base where they reside. That's what I don't get is they say...
But it still gets them clicks, though, because...
That's the problem. Like, they say they want to appeal to the casual fan and grow the game. You're not going to do that talking about LeBron. And even worse...
Yeah, it's hypocritical.
They had fucking... Hold on. They had Kai Cenat on for a debate on First Take. And they wanted to...
Oh, my God. Yeah, they don't take...
Being taken seriously and appealing to casual fan.
Let alone the All-Star game with Kevin Hart and Shaq pretty much doing the same damn joke from 10 years ago. Oh, Shaq is a lot bigger than Kevin Hart. Like, they don't take it seriously.
Kevin Hart comedy special, it's gimmicky. Like, no matter what Silver does, he's going to get slammed for you trying different gimmicks to get his players to try. Like, he's in a lose-lose situation, no matter what he says.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, with that said, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoy this type of videos, go ahead, subscribe, like, comment, and also check us out on Spotify. We're going to be on Spotify very soon. We're going to kind of post the edited clips onto there too, just to try to reach more of an audience. If you can't pay attention to an hour and 20 minutes, probably condense a little bit more with some of the cuts. We are also on TikTok and Instagram too. We're cutting up clips and we're posting it on there too. So with that said, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.